So at any point in your career, do you you said you didn't really like watch other esports to see what their commentators are like. At what point do you sit? Are there? I don't know what commentators are really like behind the scenes. Do you guys ever give each other notes? Do you ever sit down and talk about the profession of
the craft,
the craft of commentary?
I think maybe one day
it will have
with I think the Vanguard year was the first year that we as a team, as a broadcast team, nearly all of us, we'd all get into a Discord at least once or twice a week. Okay. We would go over whatever the most recent matches were, and we would beat the shit out of each other.
Really?
Yeah, it was the best. The best person for doing it was Chance. He would literally come. He'd be like, "All right, I'm going to share my screen," and there'd be 20 fucking tabs.
Oh my god!
And he really would be like, all right, you know, and we'd all leave. We'd leave this at the door. You leave your ego at the door.
Of course, yeah.
You know, all of us are really trying to get. We're really trying to get better because we could tell Vanguard was a wildly different COD.
Yeah,
I'm doing a good job here, aren't I?
You're wildly different.
Different COD.
Definitely different.
Yeah, it had things going for it, but like as a viewership experience, it was fucking crazy. It was fast and it was insane. It was like we have to reinvent this thing that we've all got pretty good at now of years and years and years, and it goes for all of us. We got to find a way to tell stories on this shit.
Yeah,
because it's vast. So we beat the hell out of each other, and it was really good.
I
it was really good. But it was always coming from a place of love, and you know. High Tide raises all the ships, and we really were big on that. And, you know, we're just coming off a Cold War, which was so fun.
Yeah.
And such a COD.
And as a COD. Yeah, it's you just watch it, and and you can kind of guide the viewer through it. And then you get to Vanguard, and it's like, the viewer's like, what the fuck is happening?
We had to, even the observing team were like, what's the important thing here? What do we watch?
Yeah.
Because spawns weren't flipping all the time. There was not a lot there was just endless battle.
Yeah, just
we were like, okay.
Hit the hill. Just
bang doors. Hit that shit. Yeah. Search and Destroy was okay, and then Control were like, all right, we're doing this. Gavutu. Right. Holy shit. You know, and we had to figure that out. But that's where we really would share notes, and we really did go deep. Yeah. All of us went deep.
So
I was also coming in big dick after winning the Esports Awards, so I was a bit like, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I did, you know, that certainly helped. Some members of the team like Lando, who doesn't cast anymore, but like he'd be like, can we watch 5 minutes of gameplay? I just want to give me some brutal honest thoughts. I'm like, 100%.
Yeah.
And we went deep. We went super deep. Not as deep or as brutal as Chance would go, but he got the fucking best out of us, man.
Yeah.
That's my boy.
That's good. That's awesome. So would you say Chance is the guy that like really like cares? Like he's the guy that cares more than anyone else.
He cares,
it seems
he cares a lot. And he would do shit like, he'd go, all right, Miles, listen to this. Just listen to this. And we'd play back the thing and I'm doing my thing. And then he'd go, how long do you think you spoke for there? I was like, well, I know you know, you dick. I was like, all right, how long? And he was like, 1:15.
Wow.
I was like, didn't feel like that. I was like, did to me. And he's right though. He was like, that's too much.
Yeah.
And then we were like, okay, cool. We can't do that in this game. We've got to pass more. And, and that's how Chance and I found this thing of like, all right, if I'm going to say something quick, straight to him. And he's going to be like, bah, 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 straight back to me.
Yeah.
And that's so we talk about passing or fast passing. And like, this is just a little trick that we found really helps a fast COD.
Yeah.
So like MW2, after a while, we were like, boom, 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 because it's a pretty speedy game at times.
Right.
And it really helped. But in those sessions, we came up with so many sort of frameworks, and I've tried to pass this on to any young caster who talks to me. Everyone wants to know about this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I treat a hard point like a song. Chance and I are both quite musically minded.
Okay.
I play the guitar and I sing. I'm sure you could tell. And he was a drummer.
Oasis, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not going to do it. I'm not going to fucking do it. But he's a drummer. So we've got, lead and rhythm. And
I like it.
And all of a sudden now we're like, oh shit, we've got a sort of a plan here. So opening with a hard point is, first verse. What's happening in the first verse?
Right.
Teams are about to hit point. They're going to get into a fight. And then there's going to be a little break, maybe a pre-chorus if there's a lull in the gameplay. And then I'm going to pass straight to him. And then the chorus is, there's no fight. The setup is happening, and that's Chance's time to break things down. So next time you listen to a hard point, when there's action on screen, it's usually me. The second there's no action, he's breaking it down, telling you what to look for. And then as the next piece comes in,
that is so
we kind of
interesting.
get built up to it. We build up to the next chorus or the next verse or however you want to structure it, because there is typically in a good COD, there is a rhythm to a hard point, and we want to get the audience in that rhythm with us,
right? So
that they're rocking as well, and they can then start looking out for those moments and really feel invested and really feel engaged and feel like, I know what's going on here. Because hard point can really feel, we talk about spawns. No one can see spawns. You don't know where that is. So it's an intangible thing. I mean,
I think I watched COD for, well, even other than that, I watched COD for 7 years before I started watching the minimap. Like when I played, I would look at the minimap, but when I watch, I'm just watching whoever's on screen.
Is he shooting?
It wasn't until I started talking to Jack that he was like, I never look at the screen.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the map 80, 90% of the time.
It's an
and
incredible blessing.
And then if somebody pops a 3-piece, I'll look to see what they're doing and then go back and read the game. And I was like, holy like I mean, obviously now, like, there's so many watch parties, there's so many people that are so detailed about the game.
Oh, 100%.
that the fans are so much smarter now.
But I hope so.
But when we're watching Black Ops 2 and Ghost, like, I'm just going to see where Rambo runs. Like, that's all I want to watch. I want to see where he goes on the map. I don't really want to care about anything else. And so, it's you guys, has it ruined like just watching for you? Can you just sit down and just watch?
I can do that. Chance cannot. But
it's just mini-map.
He's just like, what the hell is this guy doing? What's that? I'm like, no. I can sit there and be like, I can sit and take it back as just a generic enjoyer.
Right.
I can turn off the commentary brain. And I do quite a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do it while working. You wouldn't know that. It's like, I might as well said some insane shit again. But I think my working time, I'm sort of 50-50 because I have to tell you what's happening. I don't have to tell you what's happening on screen, but I have to see it. I want to find those little moments because my background, and this is where Chance and I are a weird pair.
Yeah.
I'm the player. And the player isn't usually the play-by-play. The former pro is the color caster. It's Joey D. It's Study.
Okay.
Whereas like I'm a former pro from a different game.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really help, but it helps when I'm in the mind of a player. I'm like, how does the game feel right? And that's the sort of narrative I try to take. I'm like,
okay,
if I lose that one fight on P3 to P4 vault hardpoint,
right,
you shit the bed, son. You're down 50 now. That is a really important moment, and I try to put the emotional emphasis on that moment in a way. So there are those little hooks that we can find. I find as a former player, not that I'm great at COD, but like, I'm Crimson. Come on, I'm fine. I'm top 3% or whatever.
It's better than that.
Really?
Sorry.
Nah, Matt, you're great.
Don't play him in Apex though. He's nasty.
Oh, I've got about 18 minutes in Apex. It looks great. But yeah, man, it's finding those like emotional hooks, because that's what I think this is. For me, it's always been more than just a game, man. It's always been more than just flashing lights and sounds. It's about the story of a person in that moment. And in my commentary, I always try to really find that human element and really find not just the sick 3-piece, it helps, but find the struggle and the challenge and where that player is coming from, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
Really try to dig that layer deeper and don't always do it. Mostly it's just dick jokes.
Yeah.
Mostly just dick jokes. But if it's there, we can really use it. And, and I think that adds to it, because I find people attach themselves to those emotional moments so much more.
Yeah.
If you're like, if I see a dude crying after a game, I'm kind of like, give me that now.
Yeah.
Give me, dude, when RC and Pristini play each other in like MW19 and Pristini stood up and was like, you need me. I was like, this is fucking perfect.
Yeah, it's the best.
And like watching those two guys, watching brothers literally play each other was unreal, dude.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep happening. It's going to, and that's why the stories are so important. But that's why the game we need the game, but the players are so important. And it's our job to really pick those and toy with the sort of the emotion of the player and